Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is the third part in the three-part series of the Tunisian Entrelac, and you can use a regular hook. So go ahead and hit a like if you don't mind to let me know that you've joined me on this video. Also, the links to the previous versions, both right and left for parts 1 and 2, are already down in the description below. Let's grab our little swatch as we've been walking along. I'm going to show you today how to do the blue section that fills in the pinking sheer look, the rig-rag look. And I'm going to go ahead and use magenta because I think maybe the blue is a little too dark for on camera. So this is the top up here, and I am going to insert my hook in the stitch where I normally would start the next square. So I'm going to add the new yarn here by simply yarning over. I don't even need a slip knot on my hook and pulling up a loop. Now we're doing Tunisian simple stitch, so I am going to Tunisian simple stitch in each of the bars across. So we started here and we're working down and we're filling in this space until we get to here, and then we'll fill in that space, just to give you a little roadmap of where we're going. So I'm Tunisian simple stitching by pulling up the bar as if to Tunisian simple stitch, because that's what we're doing all the way across, and we're building up these little rows. Okay, and once I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's time to pick up the adjacent loop on the next diagonal. So we're making this row and we're going to pull back, and we're going to make this row and pull back, etc. All right, so let's yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook. Remember, we're not yarning over and pulling through just one because we've picked up a stitch here. So this is like our yarn over, pull through 1 already. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops all the way across until one loop remains on the hook. All right. And now I'll tension up that tail that I just pulled through so that it is nice and appropriately snug for my gauge. Now I'm going to skip a stitch. This loop here acts as the loop right here. So this is a 1-for-1 stitch. We're going to skip the first vertical bar and go right to the second one. So we're skipping the second one and pulling up a loop 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 in each of those loops, and then 1 in the next available stitch on the diagonal. So now we have 6 loops on the hook instead of 7. We are reducing by 1 each row across. Okay, so this first loop on the hook counts as the first one. We'll skip the next one. We will pull up a loop in the remaining simple stitches and also the next available loop on the diagonal or the square that's adjacent. Yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Now, instructions might say to skip the first vertical bar, and you are because you already have a loop on here, but you're also skipping the next one because we are reducing by 1 each row. And then yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, across. Okay, so the first one is already made for us. It's on our loop, our hook already. We're skipping the next one, pull up a stitch in simple stitch, grab the last available chain there or stitch along the side of the square, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and now we are just binding off only 1 stitch with a slip stitch. Slip stitching in the next stitch. Okay, so now we have the space filled in, and we'll do that all the way across. So we only have 1 more space since this is a small swatch. So let's do it again. So we're just doing the same process, Tunisian simple stitching, 1-for-1 on the first row, and then decreasing each row after that. So we have 6 pulled up. So our 7th loop will be pulled up in the diagonal of the next square or triangle since we're near the end of the swatch. Yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 all the way across. Now we'll repeat the same method of leaving one loop on the hook that counts as the first one, skipping the next one, which actually counts as the second stitch, pulling up a Tunisian simple stitch in the remaining vertical loops, and then also pulling up a Tunisian simple stitch in the next available loop on the adjacent square. Sorry for my stomach growling there. I just had a big piece of chocolate cake. Don't tell anybody. You know I love cake. Okay, so we are doing the same thing over and over. We're decreasing by 1 each time. That's what happens when the microphone is close to my belly. Okay, and yarning over and pulling through 2. Skipping essentially the first 2. There's one already in the hook, so we're not skipping the first one, but we are skipping the second. But since we don't have to do anything for the first one, it feels like we're skipping it also. Okay, so we are filling in the spaces. So much fun. It's going to give it a nice finished straight edge, and then we will just bind off with a slip stitch and slip stitch in the last stitch. So we've made our little fill-in triangles. There is a little bit of a bump there, but it's going to be evened out when we put an edging on it. So it is great. We're done with that edge. So we'll go ahead and fasten off that edge and rotate. So we just did the blue section, but I thought the blue would be hard to see on camera, so that's why I picked up the magenta instead. So then to do this section down here to fill in the blue, we're just going to rotate and do the exact same thing by picking up in the most corner stitch you can get and pulling up loops, picking up this one all the way across, and then doing the same thing here to fill in that blue space. I hope you've enjoyed this Tunisian Entrelac. Please check out part 1 and part 2 if you haven't already worked with them. And there's more color work if you want to see that. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.